Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crizzy Books. I'm Crizzy, or Criz, but only my homeboys call me Criz. And today I'm going to be doing a review for The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. More like Donna Fart. The Goldfinch is a coming-of-age novel. We follow our main character, Theo, who through a series of wild events and tragedies, comes into possession of a priceless piece of artwork, the Goldfinch, and then a lot of shit happens. And then he goes on this kind of, miniature version of an epic journey throughout his life, meeting new and different people, experiencing more horrific tragedies, battling his own inner demons, potentially finding redemption. I don't know. It's a big ass, long ass book that I thought was really good, really well written, but ultimately not incredible or amazing, but still very solid, very good. So let's get into what did I like and what did I not like. So what did I like? Strap in, this is going to be a long one. This book's about 800 pages long, so we're going to have a bit to talk about here. I think one of the strongest things about this book was the characters themselves. I feel like every character was so rich in detail, fully fleshed out. Even characters that we don't see all the time feel very real. And I think that's something that Donna Tartt did a really good job of with writing this. Like, this story feels incredibly real, and I think that one of the strongest reasons for that is because all these characters are pretty morally gray. No one is, 100% good or 100% bad. Everybody is just kind of, they do good things and then sometimes they do shitty things. That feels very realistic because that's how everybody is. And just to point out some of the characters that I thought really stood out in this story, Mrs. Barber, this is the mother of Andy, who is one of Theo's friends. The Barber family takes Andy in after his mother dies, and he becomes kind of this free-floating orphan, basically. They take him in and take care of him until they can, find somebody. They even talk about adopting him. I thought that Mrs. Barber was very well done as a character. She's a very caring woman, shows kindness to Theo, and even when he leaves and comes back, she still is showing a lot of warmth and kindness towards him, almost like she's a second son. But we get back into that morally gray thing of like, the Barbers don't really fight that hard to prevent Theo from going with his dad. I know there's probably nothing they could really do about it, but they know that Theo's dad's kind of a piece of shit, and then he just shows up out of the blue, out of nowhere, and they're just like, okay, you're going with him. She's also aware of Kitsy and all of Kitsy's cheating and all that bullshit. Theo himself, understandably damaged. He's lost a lot of people in his life and just really has no stability at all. But then he also continues to keep the painting, which he knows he shouldn't have. Does a lot of drugs, steals, swindles people. He also is like this unreliable narrator. He even points out that he can't remember people's names sometimes, and all throughout the book. I actually really like that there's just these tiny little like sentences that will explain like maybe he doesn't really remember this very well, or he's not being totally honest. And we'll get to Boris. Boris is probably my favorite character in the book, which is funny because when it first started and we first meet Boris, I wasn't super into him, but I think by the end of it, I really like him. I think he's at least the most interesting character out of everybody. The one constant in Theo's life, the brother that he needs, the family that he doesn't have. He cannot be trusted whatsoever. He's a liar and a thief, incredibly impulsive, but also super capable and very strong-willed, and he can admit to all this. Like, he understands himself, which is, I think, is what makes him very cool and well-rounded. The writing in this is incredibly easy to read. Again, this is a thick boy of a book, 700 to 800 pages, something like that. It didn't feel like that. I was blazing through this. I think I read it in a week. Granted, I was reading a lot, but it flows so well. I don't know how she's done it, but like to have so much there and you feel like you're just sprinting through it. Pretty amazing. But at the beginning, when the bombing happens in the museum, Theo is meeting Welty and they're kind of having this discussion and he steals the painting and everything. Clearly concussed and massively disoriented. I really like the way that this part was written because you felt disoriented like he did, the way that sentences weren't making sense sometimes, or he's kind of bouncing around. I'm a big fan of when books do stuff like this and really put you into the mindset instead of just telling you what's happening to them. You're experiencing it with them. And I think it's cool. There's a lot of little minute details throughout this, like kind of almost throwaway sentences or statements, but I think they really ground the story and make it even more realistic than I feel like it already is. For instance, when he's living with the Barbers and talking about Andy's room, he mentions him having issues of Full Metal Alchemist, the manga. And if you don't know what that is, then it's meaningless to you. But if you do know what it is, and you understand the age at which Theo and Andy are, it makes complete sense, and it is absolutely something that Andy would have in his room. He just totally nails it, like that age frame, that time. Even at one point they're going through texting before smartphones and texting, and just how shitty it was, because it used to take like 5 times longer to, text a message out when you only have 9 buttons. You have to go through every letter every time. So you'd start to rely on abbreviations of words and some that don't even make sense, but you're just hoping that the person you're texting understands what you're trying to say. Just so cool. And I love that because it's just incredibly accurate. Let's talk about Theo's grandparents and how big of a piece of shit they are. Man, they were the worst. I think it really does explain his father and his behavior and his really why he's so emotionally unavailable or doesn't even really want to be a part of a family, because clearly he probably didn't have much of one. Yeah, fuck them. I think if we're looking at it for any root cause of a lot of the familial issues here, it's probably those two. One of the hardest hitting moments for me, and honestly surprising because it's not that big of a thing, but when he goes back to visit his old apartment building where him and his mom lived, and he finds out that the building's been sold and it's being gutted and all of the people that used to work there aren't there anymore. That got to me a little bit. I think just because everything else in his life has been so not stable, and people keep dying and disappearing, and friends, he's not talking to certain people. There's just nothing constant in this kid's life. And you would think that an old building, maybe he might be able to hold on to that, but even that is not sacred. And just that one got to me. I think I can also relate to it when you go back to see a place that you used to live, and either the building is completely different or gone, or the area that the building is in is completely different than what you remember it being. It does kind of mess with you. Things will always continue to change whether you want them to or not. So Kermit the Frog here. I do got to say, adult Theo, pretty annoying. I thought it was actually really funny when he found out that Boris had stolen the painting from him in Vegas. Theo has just invested so much of himself into this secret. And that's kind of just how he is. He's like this secret keeper. He's doing all this shady shit with selling fake furniture to people. He is constantly doing drugs, getting off of drugs, doing drugs again. He's just very obsessed over these secrets that he keeps. It's so funny that it was just a wrapped up textbook this whole time he was going to visit at the storage container. So funny and kind of just a huge kick in the nuts to him, but it's just makes him seem so much more pathetic. Okay, so let's get into what did I not like. To repeat myself one more time, this book is long, probably too long. I don't want to make it sound like I was ever bored in this, because I wasn't. Again, this book reads incredibly well. Never a dull moment. It kept my interest the entire time. But I think that there were just certain parts of this that maybe could have been shortened down. Things like Vegas, the aftermath of what happens in Amsterdam. I think could have maybe reined it in a little bit in areas like that. I mean, and even throughout, there's probably parts that could have been trimmed down. Things just tend to go on maybe just a little too long. And I think that kind of hurts it rather than helps it. Also, speaking of the aftermath in Amsterdam, a little confused about that. And maybe this goes back to why maybe I find Theo so annoying, and unreliable, and the morally gray, aspect to all the characters in this. He's having this kind of mental breakdown, waiting for Boris after everything's happened, and just really losing his mind, trying to OD, writing suicide notes to everybody that he knows. He ends up having this dream And his mom shows up, and he says he's never seen his mom in any dreams. She finally shows up in this one. It's like this huge, eye-opening moment for him, and he wakes up the next day, and he's like, okay, I'm going to turn myself in over this. No more bullshit. I'm done. Whatever. Boris shows up that day and hands him a sack of like $1 million or $600,000 or something like that, and tells him all this stuff about, oh yeah, no, painting's in a good place, doesn't matter. None of it matters. We actually got free money. We should have done this a long time ago. Here's yours. Here's part of it. You're going to get even more later. He's protesting throughout until he starts to realize, like, oh, we're like in the clear now. It doesn't even matter. Oh, okay, great. And just goes back, all good. Does not matter at all. And I just found that to be so frustrating. Like, either one, why did we have this whole thing and hear about this if that was what he was going to do? Or two, wow, what a shithead. Theo still is the whole reason that they're even there in the first place. Like, he took the painting off the wall, whether it was out of confusion or whatever. He has had so much time to give that painting back to the museum, and he never did. And now they're in this position. I mean, he fucking killed the guy. Like, it doesn't... But it's like just back to whatever. Oh, we're good. Well, I'll just redeem myself in some other way, even though I could have just not done the other shitty thing of selling fake furniture. I'll redeem myself in that way. It's just, yeah. But other than that, I didn't really dislike anything about this book. Just too long, and Theo's kind of a shithead. Overall, I'm going to give The Goldfinch a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a really solid book. Didn't overly love it, but really enjoyed it. I thought it was really solid. I would definitely recommend reading it if you can stomach reading, 750 pages about a kid who steals a priceless painting. Breezy read for how long it is, and just a pretty good, emotionally weighted story. But what did you think? Have you read The Goldfinch? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Sound off in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you for watching. Bye. Mwah.